Hi, I'm Dan Higgins, food and drink reporter for USA Today Network in Wisconsin. This is WisBrewView Live, where we attempt to raise your brew IQ, actually. And today I've got a whole bunch of people here to help us with that. We've got a live audience today. We're here live inside the tap room at Bare Bones Brewery in the welcoming community of Oshkosh. Since we do have a live audience today, we'll be taking questions from you as we go along. Just raise your hands if you got questions as we go along. For the folks at home, if you're watching on Facebook, if you click on the little thing there on the screen, it'll come up. And all you have to do is type in your question. We'll kind of keep an eye out, so we'll kind of look for questions there too. The reason for our our panel, we got 9 guests here today. We got 8 of them are brewers, and one is a mazer. And we'll get to what a mazer is in a little bit. But before we dive full force into this, like I said, the reason we got these guys here is that on Saturday, these guys will be pouring samples of their stuff right here. Well, not right here, but out there in the parking lot. These guys have decided to do a beer festival in January in Wisconsin outdoors. So we're going to have some fun with that Saturday afternoon, starting at 2 o'clock. It will be right here. Tickets still available if you want to check that out. So without any further ado, we're going to go down the line here and introduce our guests. Right down there, we have Ian Wenger, who is the co-owner and brewer for Fifth Ward Brewing right here in Oshkosh. Next to him, we got RJ Nordland, head brewer and the event organizer, and he's head brewer here at Bare Bones Brewery. We've got Mike Schlosser, there you go, from High Holder Brewer, also in Oshkosh, located in Oshkosh. We have Dave Newth, the owner, head brewer for Newth Brewing in Ripon. We have Eric Hensel, who is the general manager up at Lionsdale in Neenah. We have Ben Fogel, who is the owner and brewer up there at Appleton Beer Factory, located downtown Appleton. We have Kevin Bowen, brewmaster, Fox River Brewing Company, locations both Oshkosh and in the mall up there in Grand Chute. We have Andy Piantic, he is the head brewer for Stone Arch Brewing. And we have Shane Coombs, like Coombs, all right. He's the co-owner, mazer, for Rushford Meadery and Winery, which is located nearby Omro. So welcome, guys. Thanks for coming on out. And we're going to get things going here. The first question, RJ, we're just going to start right with you. This was your idea to do this outside. We've had quite our little cold snap. We got a little bit, couple of warm days, but it looks like it's going to cool down again. So why in the world do this outside?
So the event was inspired by 2 of my favorite events back in Michigan, the Grand Rapids Winter Beer Fest, which is held outdoors in the winter. There's over 100 breweries pouring the craziest, biggest high-gravity beers they got at this festival. And the other event is called Party in Your Parka, which is also, like, they have crafts, they have beer, they have wine, and music and stuff out in the cold in the winter. It's a fun event. Both those events are great. I mean, you go out, everybody's bundled up. They know what they're getting into. They've paid the ticket price already. And you're out there drinking beer, having fun in the cold, and, I don't know. There's something about it, and I can't describe it. If you ever have been to one of those events over in Michigan, you know about it. You understand how much fun it is, and just experiencing. I think there's a lot of people who are kind of nervous about the cold. They're scared or whatnot, but once it takes place, they're gonna have a lot of fun, and we'll be really excited for next year. So
yeah, sorry, I went to. Is this on? I assume it is. I went to school up in Michigan. I'm from the area here originally, but I totally agree that you spend a lot of time outside and you get into a community, a small community like this, and everyone's in the exact same situation as you are. Maybe it's really cold out, but you're at least having a lot of tasty beers and having a good time with everyone. So just come and try it.
Well, we also want to separate the professionals from the amateurs.
Drinking wise.
This is the cold hardy. We're gonna find out how much you really like beer, right? Okay. So, and it's featuring brewers across the whole Fox Valley. As we talked about, we're from Ripon up to Neenah and all that. So why keep the spotlight with just this, not just throw it open in the whole state?
Originally, I was reaching out to Green Bay and Milwaukee and Madison, but as the idea kept growing, like, why not just put the emphasis on the talent we have here? There's great beer in the Fox Valley, and I think it goes underappreciated, and a lot of people are going to come here and they're going to be like, holy shit, there's some really good beer here. You know, they're going to hold it up to like Green Bay, to Milwaukee, to Madison, and I mean, you know, see that there's some quality beer being poured here. So it's like, why invite the other breweries when we can just focus on our area and try and build a name for the Fox Valley as a beer community?
And it is kind of interesting because really the Fox Valley has grown pretty much the way I think a lot of other breweries have grown around the state. You have a couple that were kind of the pioneers, the early ones. Stone Arch, you guys were actually 1989. You started as Adler Brow, then became Stone Arch 2004. Fox River 1995 started brewing beer, and then we kind of had that gap in about 2013, 15. We had Appleton Beer, and then everybody from there on in. So it's not like it was like the Fox Valley's been late to the party. I mean, that's right in the wheelhouse of when all this opened up. So from your guys' perspective then, what's maybe hasn't, maybe do the rest of you feel that way, that maybe you've been overlooked a little bit, or and why maybe?
I think the Valley has been overlooked a little bit, and I'm not sure exactly why, but it's our job to change that. So we need to keep making solid, awesome beers. I think we're going to represent well this weekend. So, yeah, hopefully it snowballs from there. Yeah.
What is Fox River bringing? What are we going to get a taste of from you guys this weekend?
We're bringing a huge selection. So we're going to try to bring everything we have available right now. So
A lot of beer.
yeah, I'm expecting to bring at least 15 varieties, ranging from our everyday house beers to some barrel-aged projects and things that maybe we haven't even released to the public.
All right.
Some real special stuff. Yeah.
All right. Anybody else feel like you've been overlooked or maybe missed a little bit, Ian?
I just think that craft beer's been around Fox Cities for a long time, but I think this area is really kind of just coming into its own in terms of having its own craft beer culture, and really, there's enough breweries now where we can do this sort of event and have this kind of following and this kind of draw. There's enough people here, enough great beer being produced that we can sort of do this on our own instead of having to go to Green Bay or draw from Milwaukee and things like that. So it's cool that this area is finally really having its own sort of craft beer culture as opposed to just having to be part of whatever else is going on in the state.
All right. Anybody? Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Ian as well. Over at Lion's Tail, we've kind of also feel like we've been overlooked a little bit. I mean, we did go down to the IPA Fest down in Milwaukee, and we were the first keg to kick, so that was kind of cool. But other than that, I mean, we haven't seen much other than the local love. So just showing people who we are, getting our name out there. We're bringing 3 pretty awesome beers. We're going to bring our Imperial Maple Porter with blueberries added. We're bringing a one-off from our Juice Cloud, which is our New England style IPA. We're bringing Mojuice Mo Cloud. It's a mosaic version of Juice Cloud, and we're bringing Madagascar Vanilla Bean Bourbon Trail Stout as well. So
Nice.
I want to pick up on what Eric just said about the local love too. Like, this doesn't happen without our locals, and they've been really supportive, and they're the reason that an event like this can happen. Like you all here right now coming out to support this little interview here we're having. I mean, we have a great group of locals here in the Valley that want to see the beer culture boom here, and that want to like taste it all and go out to all these breweries and check it out. I mean, I think it's great, and it's a way. I think there are some who like are. We got loyalists at all of our breweries, and I think this is a great event, just like we did a craft beer tour back during Beer Week where we got everybody to go around to beer. But this is another event to get people more familiarized with the other tap rooms in the area too. And then you got all of our locals going around and checking everybody's tap rooms out and sharing the love, because that's how it starts to grow. It's all organic. It's starting here, and it's going to go outward from there.
And there's something nice too about like your community brewer too. I think that's kind of something that people seem to even like more. It's even like it's beyond craft. It's like people are almost want that micro, like this is my neighborhood place that I go to. I live up in Neenah. Last night I was over at Neenah.
Everybody loves their neighborhood pub.
Yeah, the story, and that's the place that's kind of, I end up probably there more often than I normally would anywhere else. And it's nothing against anybody else. It's just you're close, and I kind of know Alex, and that's the way it goes.
No, and I really, though, on that note, honestly, the camaraderie just between the breweries and, the customers there is a very specific sort of, the customer that comes in, they don't just pick one and stick to that. They do hit them all, and they show everybody love. But I mean, truthfully, just between us here, like we haven't had our keg washer up and running. I've been at both Bare Bones and Lion's Tail washing kegs, and I'm sure everybody else here would allow us to come wash our kegs there too if we were to ask. But it's just one of those things that we do really all work together for the benefit of each other and for the craft and for the culture in and of itself around here. So,
and I think people like that story too, and like hearing that. I think that's part of it too, is they like this idea that it's kind of everybody in it together too. I think that's been part of what has helped craft come up. Am I wrong in that? Or do you agree with that? Or yeah, yeah.
It's us versus the big guys.
Fell just a little short on the buyback in Bev, right? Mike, did you chime in or?
Sean's my beer or my keg washer. So if you want to bring some kegs over and you need something done, you're more than welcome to stack them up because he's busy tonight. So.
All right, and as I mentioned, we have a mazer, and we're going to get to what is a mazer, and that we're going to go over here, Shane Coombs, and we're going to have to get the mic down here for you. But tell us about mead. What makes it different from what's different and the same in a way from like say beer or wine and everything else?
Rushford is a meadery, winery, and cidery. So we produce mead, which is fermented with honey. At least 50% of the fermentables have to come from honey in order for it to be called a mead.
Okay.
So it can contain grains, which would be a braggot, or it can contain fruit, which would be a melomel, or it can contain spices, which would be a metheglin. So there's all different derivatives that follow that, like grapes are a piment. I'll be bringing our traditional mead, that is honey, water, and yeast. It was a darker honey, and we aged it in J. Henry & Sons bourbon barrels. And kind of the cool thing about that is I'm drinking Mead the Dog right now, which is a wee heavy that Bare Bones brewed that was actually aged in the barrels that we made the mead. So it has a little bit of the mead character in it.
Okay.
It's rather enjoyable.
So barrel-aged mead. You can try barrel-aged mead this weekend. All right.
And I'll have more of a traditional mead, which is our Heather Blossom, which would be a metheglin. It's a little bit sweeter, so you get more of that honey character coming forward in it. And then I'll bring actually 3 ciders. 2 of them will be in pins. A pin is a half a firkin, in case you're unaware, which is basically 5.4 gallons conditioned in the keg itself. And when you breach the keg, generally speaking, I'm going to have somebody else do it if possible, because you get splashed with whatever's in it usually.
It's just going to turn to an ice.
It'll just be ice. You're not really going to be wet till you get home and it melts, right?
I'm going to take my phone and record it, see how it goes, actually. And then I plan on doing a impromptu spice cider, warm, heat it up, use my old home brewing setup, and actually heat up a cider so that somebody has something nice and warm to drink. It's kind of hard to do that with beer, but you can actually get away with it with a cider. So
with the meads, then you're starting out with the honey, or there's a lot of honey in there. So are they generally sweeter, or can you find? Do you get the full range like you would with beers then?
You get the full range. Actually, you can go the full range and then beyond, because most beer has dextrose malt in it, which is usually unfermentable unless you get some funky guys in there. Then they'll actually ferment the dextrose, normally Brettanomyces. But other than that, it's 100% fermentable. So you can go below 1 specific gravity rating. Most of my products, If I want to go dry, they wind up like 0.96, which is, lighter than water. So there's more alcohol in it than there is remaining solids, so to speak.
All right. All right. So full range of.
Full,
Not at all. Nope. I'm just gonna have to come drink it, and then I'll know what's going on. I'm like, well, talk about raising IQ, man. That just.
Sorry, guys.
I just blew up my head.
Want to say something about Shane is both like he knows more. Not only about obviously you just got the mead and the wine and the cider part of it, but beer too. I think he knows more than most people I know, and he's been a great asset for me here at Bare Bones. Whether or not I like what he says about my products, he shoots it straight and tells me stuff like and I know some of you guys might not know Shane as well, but maybe you do. He's a great person to talk to and let sample your stuff and shoot you straight, because he will. But he's a very, very knowledgeable man and knows his stuff really well.
I've been homebrewing for 42 years, and I'm not that old, so you can do the math. I'm 55, so.
All right. And I know, RJ, one of the things you wanted to do with this is you encourage everybody to bring big beers.
Yeah.
I think automatically people start thinking stouts. Recently, this is kind of interesting too. There was a group called the Business Broker Network, and they did a search on Google Trends in the state, all the 50 states, to see what's the beer style most searched out across in every state. And I thought, okay, it's just going to be IPA across the board, and there was some variation differences. And stout was actually Wisconsin's top searched beer style.
Perfect.
And I'm just kind of wondering, first of all, does that surprise anybody up here that would beat out like IPA or Pale Ale or as a search term?
I'm not surprised.
No.
It's a hardy group of people here in Wisconsin.
They took a 12-month thing, so it wasn't even like, oh, they just looked in January. Well, yeah, anytime from November to February, yeah, you figure that's going to
I would
kill.
assume
But
if it wasn't, if it was a craft beer, it was either going to, if not IPA, a stout or an amber or something.
yeah, like even lagers were thrown in. It was
wow.
basically all the different ones. But yeah, I wasn't too surprised. It seems like Wisconsin's kind of stout country. How many of you guys have a stout year round that you'll keep on year round? So almost everybody. Where's it kind of fall for you guys in terms of like how much you're producing over the course of the year? Is it one of your top ones? Is it just kind of?
Our top beer is IPA. We make 3 IPAs year round, but stouts, we always have some kind of a dark beer on. We have the Swifty Stout at the beginning of half of the year. We have Imperial Stout at the end of the half of the year. There's always something dark for people, but like we could brew one batch and let it last 6 months, and it's been carrying perfect for us. But yeah, I don't know.
Ben, I think you guys, do you have the timeout stout? Is that on year round for you? Someone I need a mic here.
Yeah, we were calling it clock out.
Clock out. I'm sorry, timeout. Clock out. My bad.
Name might
Clock
not
out.
hold, but
Yeah.
it's pretty much the same situation as RJ. And ours is on nitro, which is beside the point, but you can brew quite a bit of it and have it last for the good part of a year. And you have those hardcore people that will come in there every single day to have that stout, no matter what the time of the year is.
90 degrees, middle of July. Still give me that stout, right?
But for sure, it mostly gets consumed during those colder months.
There's people that'll drink an Imperial Stout in the summer. They don't
Yeah.
care. Like you can have that, especially like if you
I'm
brew
that
one
guy.
in the winter and it's good, and you pull it back out in the summer. Don't matter how hot it is, they're gonna drink that beer because they love that beer.
I tell you what, you get a Klondike bar and a stout in summer is actually a very good
There you go.
dessert. I'm
dip
telling
it.
you, I've done it. You take a bite of the Klondike bar, take a sip of the stout, and go back and forth. Trust me, you're welcome. You're welcome.
We've got a coffee stout on tap all year round, and it's not our best-selling beer, but I think it's probably our most loved beer by our fanatics.
Right.
Like it's the one beer that if we run out of, because we're pretty small. Yeah, and we roast our own coffee for our coffee stout. But if we run out of that one, man, we catch a lot of hell for that one.
Anybody else? Any other big stout fans here, or stout brewers? Or
Well, there is St. Patty's Day coming up.
Yep.
So I have kind of a unique location where my beer gets poured off at, and we're gonna do a dry Irish stout and try to do like a tap takeover on the stout side. For those of you who know Irish stouts, we're gonna kind of go a little more Beamish style, and we'll be doing that pretty much exclusively through the whole month of March. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So.
There you go. Yeah, it is that time. Yeah, I suppose that's pour up. That's kind of marks the end of it, but it's also kind of a height of it too, I suppose, with St. Patrick's Day coming. So, all right. Anybody have any questions out here? Jump in. We can have some fun here. Is there anybody got any specific questions to this point, or? Well, Ben's just had enough. He's leaving. All right. All right. No, we're taking out here. All right, we're gonna. You guys didn't know that, did you? That you could bring in. We got a tag team here. All right. Substitution. All right. All right.
It's like a tag
All
team.
right. If you're keeping score at home, this is Matt Kletty, also co-owner brewer up there at Appleton Beer Factory. Klettii for those of you who want to spell it and get that right on your score sheet at home. There you go. All right. This beer festival, like I said, is being held outside in January. If it was being held outside in July, your big concern is the beer gets too warm. Is there any concern that the beer gets too cold at something like this, especially if it's in the teens or lower and you got some wind?
So there's a chance your beer will freeze. The biggest way to avoid that is to keep drinking. High alcohol too, but I did 1 year at the Winter Beer Fest in Grand Rapids, and it was about 10 degrees out, and everybo's lines are freezing, and for some reason ours weren't. And what I realized is I kept pouring samples for myself. So you just keep drinking and moving those lines, and they'll be okay, But yeah, that's what I learned, and the people that were just sitting around and I don't know, not pouring them, they were freezing pretty instantly.
So I know beer temperature is kind of is seriously a thing. I mean, I think if you guys saw your beer being poured in a frosted glass, your heads would explode. Am I wrong in this or no?
Yeah, but we all know what we're
Correct.
getting into
Yeah.
in this. It's a cold beer fest. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
it's 10 degrees out. You just keep the beer coming. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Doesn't.
just keep pouring it; it'll move. But I mean, it's something. It's something where like. I think you know what you're getting into. This is a winter beer festival. It's not like there's one up north. I'm not gonna name it because I don't want to. But they claim to be a winter beer festival that's ice cold, and it's in a heated tent. Like this is something where we don't need ice. We don't need any of that stuff. You go out and you enjoy the weather, and it's a way to bring joy to the winter as well. I mean, winter. Some people are really miserable during the winter. This is like we're gonna go out and have some fun. We're gonna drink some beers and keep it flowing and have a good time. I mean, it's like ice fishing.
Yeah. So like an event like this outside notwithstanding, seriously, like when you look at temperature, like how serious you guys get? Like if you're at either pouring it or if you're just at home, like how serious are you about finding the right temperature range for enjoying your beer? Like,
I get nerdy about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most beers deserve to be enjoyed when their flavor can really be expressed. And if it's too cold, it doesn't really do that. So there's something about drinking it in the right time. But beer's kind of perfect that it cools you off in the summer and warms you up in the winter. So you can't go wrong.
No, I agree. There's a lot to like drinking a beer. I don't keep my fridge at some specific temperature that's perfect for beer. But I pull a beer out and I pour it in a glass, always, never out of the bottle or can. You let it warm up, right? You drink it right away when it's cold and fresh out of the can, out of the bottle. You wait a couple minutes, you try it again. You hold on to the glass, you let it warm up, and just kind of see how it changes. It's sort of an adventure through the beer as the temperature changes. Really seeing what kind of flavors you're getting out of it. That's sort of my method.
I completely agree with Ian. There's certain beers that are good at certain temperatures, and certain flavors come out at certain temperatures. So, RJ, there's a fire in the parking lot, right?
We're gonna have a bonfire in the middle of the festival.
So
Bring
if
your
you're,
Christmas trees.
Oh,
We're gonna
man.
burn them Christmas trees, and you can stand close. The closer you get, the warmer your beer will
yeah,
get.
if you
There you go.
if you feel like your beer is too cold, stand a little closer to the fire.
Fire.
And also, I mean, like, you can bring hand warmers and stuff. And if you're cupping your glass, everybody that's coming is getting a 5-ounce glass of so a 5-ounce glass. You can have a hand warmer. You can warm that glass up like that. But also the point of the 5-ounce glass too is to allow people to taste. We're giving out 5-ounce samples at this festival. We're filling that glass up. You get 20 samples, and we've caught some flack for that. But we want people to properly taste this beer. We want them to enjoy it. There's a lot of festivals where you get an ounce or a couple ounces and you just toss that out. You don't even taste it. You take a sip and you move on from an IPA to an Imperial Stout to whatever. You're not actually tasting the beer. Your palate's not. So we're giving you 5-ounce pours, and you can cuddle that glass with with your palm of your hands and warm it up and really truly taste it.
So you may actually want to bring some hand warmers for your
Oh,
beer.
Hand
All right.
warmers, warm your gloves
There
up.
you go. Sure, we got an online question. All right.
Lenora wants to know if there's going to be any wine available for.
The question is there going to be wine? So we've got one guy here. Pressure's on you.
It's a beer festival, unfortunately, and I
Oh,
have
here. Oh,
not-
sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry. We're going to have to ask. Okay, we're going to start the question. All right. So the question is there going to be wine? The answer is
At beer festivals, I'll bring mead and cider. I don't bring wine. At wine festivals, I bring mead, cider, and wine. Fortunately,
So you're gonna get
Yeah.
honey wine.
yes, honey wine is correct, but actually, wine is made with fruit, and mead doesn't necessarily have to have fruit in it. Therefore, it's not really wine. It's actually mead. So, yeah, we'll have actually a traditional mead that's bourbon barrel aged, and then a heather blossom mead that is a little bit sweeter. So if you like something sweet in the wintertime with higher alcohol, right around I think it's like 13.5%, 13.9.
Okay.
That'll work.
there you go. And you say a cider too, or no?
Yeah,
Or-
well, I actually have 3 ciders.
okay, hard ciders too. So there's
Yeah.
always that as well, which is a good.
Which is
Yeah.
technically that is wine.
yeah.
So
Yep.
Cider's actually good, like a slushy.
Oh, slushy cider. There you go. All right.
we're doing the opposite though. We're actually going to heat a couple of them up, or one of them up.
And then we also have Terry Jarrett that says hi, Jared.
All right. Oh, I'm back. That's our bartender keeping everybody happy back there. Gets a shout out. All right. Fantastic. All right. So tickets are still available. Actually, and there's a VIP version of it, which will get you into this tap room with additional pours. Am I correct, or is that?
1 o'clock.
So
also.
the VIP ticket gets you entrance at 1 o'clock because we're gonna have some of those things like the pins, stuff that's more limited. So you get first crack at that if you buy the VIP ticket, as well as you get access to the VIP lounges of the tap room, which is not gonna be 10 degrees. Also, I mean the bathrooms and whatnot, but yeah. So you get those perks as well as 5 extra samples as well. But $60, it's only $20 more, and you get all that extra stuff. It's a good deal.
All right, and give us a spiel on where tickets can be found and
Yeah,
and all
we
that
got a
cost and all
Facebook
that.
event. On there, you can find a link on the Fox Valley Winter Beer Festival Facebook event. You can find a link to the Brown Paper Tickets website, which has the tickets for sale. And yeah, you can get them all on there.
You can get in, all you guys in your tap rooms
We got 'em
have
in the
them
tap
available
rooms
as well,
too,
correct?
as
So
well.
if you're even better, all right, we got another question.
Yeah, Jason wants to know if there will be any wheat beers available.
Okay, he wants to know if the question is, will there be wheat beers available? Anybody bringing a wheat beer? All right, we got right here from Appleton Beer Factory.
Yes, we're going to be bringing a vanilla coffee wheat beer with some coffee from Akoka in downtown Appleton.
Oh, there you go.
And we'll
All right.
have our honey saffron wheat available as well.
Honey saffron wheat. And are you bringing Foreman's?
Foreman's Basement will be there.
Okay, and is that? Am I correct in assuming that's some sort of? Is that a play on?
Yeah, that's
70s show? That's what I thought. All right,
you know,
kind of maybe, but
right.
Yeah, okay.
If you're familiar, yeah, you get
familiar, all right, yeah. Vader's Imperial Stout, or no, or
We've got some Imperial Stouts coming. In fact, one that's on tap here, our 1917 Imperial Stout. We brewed that in collaboration with our local Oshkosh truck.
Okay.
It was 100th anniversary this year.
All right.
So we've got that one in bottles, and that'll definitely be coming out.
All right.
Vader's we just tapped at our Oshkosh brewery. So I don't know if it'll make the fest, but for sure you can get some on tap.
You guys have a couple of those wink names. My favorite is probably the Abbey Normal. That's the one I always look forward to coming out every year. Just it's a little reference in there for those
favorite
who get
name,
it.
yep.
I absolutely love that one. All right. What are some of the other beers you guys are most anxious to try? Either that you've seen someone else bringing or that you're bringing yourself that you're pumped about? Let's go down the line. Ian, why don't we start with you?
So we just came out a few weeks ago with our oatmeal IPA. It's sort of a mishmash just between like a West Coast style and the New England style. So we're calling it Midwest style IPA. It's moderately bitter and kind of hazy due to the it was over 20% oatmeal, but we brewed that. I pulled off about a half barrel of the uncarbonated finished product, and we threw it into our small little homebrew 17-barrel conical that we have, and then dumped a whole extra pound of Chinook whole cone hops. So it's going to be double dry hopped, double oat 7 is what we're calling it. But so that it's tasting pretty good. So that's going to be kind of our one-off. Some other specialty stuff we'll be bringing as well. But
RJ, you guys have, and actually you just told me your Hasta La
Basta.
Give us.
So that beer is going to be officially released at the Beer Fest. That's a tribute to my dog who just passed away, and it's what I used to always say to him when I left the house. Hasta La Basta, Don't know why I'm weird. I guess I don't know. But we also have Peppermint Patty, which is a small batch brew that Nate, our assistant brewer, had made. It has hot cocoa mix with extra marshmallows and a bunch of peppermint candy canes and peppermint leaves, and it's a red ale. And we also have a cinnamon vanilla porter that's going to come out for that. We'll also be bringing out the Imperial Bourbon Stout, which was a stout that we made a year ago with Lion's Tail as our collaboration beer, and then we aged it in a bourbon barrel. So that'll be coming back out. We'll have some Mead the Dog on tap, and we'll also have the Clifford Tries Rum, which is a rum barrel-aged Clifford, the Big Red beer.
There you go.
So we'll have some high ABV stuff out there and some weird one-offs, too.
All right. Mike?
We'll be having the Up and Down, which is a Kolsch. Not so much high in the ABV, but it's great on the taste. We're
looking at a nice style beer. I mean, that's
easy drinking.
I love those beers. Yep.
That one will probably have to keep running nonstop so it doesn't freeze up.
Darn.
Poke the Bear. We got Poke the Bear. That's a porter. It's an English style porter that I added a little bit of chocolate wheat to, and it's got a great finish to it, and it's gonna. Possibly we were going to be serving it on nitro if we can keep all that together in the weather. We have a raspberry wheat that I'm going to tentatively bring. I don't know. I got an idea here just talking to these guys all of a sudden tonight, so I might do a little experiment with that. And then I have a New England style IPA because I'm in the house of IPAs for some reason. I got to show up and represent somehow. So all these other guys are juice clouding it and everything else. So we're gonna bring something a little bit cushy there for that.
I'm excited to drink more of this Hasta La Basta. It's delicious.
Yeah, now everybody is done.
Yeah.
That was a
Hasta
nice.
La Vista David after 2 of these. But we'll have for the non-stout drinkers, we'll have our Blue-Eyed Blonde, easy drinking farmhouse ale, and then a few others.
Like I said earlier, we're going to have our Imperial Maple Porter with blueberries. We added 2 pounds of blueberries to it. We're going to have Mo Juice Mo Cloud which is a one-off from Juice Cloud. We added, there's 10 pounds of Citra hops and 15 pounds of Mosaic hops, both in the boil and dry hopped into the fermentation as well. I tried it today out of the fermenter. It's tasting really good. It's almost better than Juice Cloud. And Juice Cloud is my favorite beer that we have. So
Okay. Oh, there you go.
We're also bringing our Madagascar bourbon vanilla bean bourbon trail. We put 12 Madagascar vanilla beans into bourbon, and now we're adding that to the bourbon trail on top of what we already have in. So if you've had our bourbon trail out at the tap room, come out and try the Madagascar vanilla bean version. It's fantastic, and it'll warm you up.
Well, I'm excited about our coffee vanilla wheat. We actually had coffee roasted from Macoca on Sunday.
Okay. And
so
for those
that-
you don't know, Coca is a roaster right there on College Avenue, and they've got like a nice, just a small. They roast everything in small batches.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
usually
right in
4 to 6 pounds at a
yeah,
crack. So, I
yeah.
mean,
So
the
they do
stuff
some
is super
fantastic
fresh,
coffee
so-
there if you're ever down that way. Yeah.
Right. So we were actually able to put that right into our bright tank earlier this week. So that's going to be about as fresh as you can get. We're going to have our black, our Hefeweizen, and our amber, which are our production series beers, which sell very well and very, very popular. So we're really excited to have those to show everyone.
Excellent. And I think we talked.
So
a little bit
we're
of
planning on
everything.
bringing a lot.
The kitchen sink, right?
Yeah, we've got our annual beers for sure making their appearance. I think most people are gonna. I'm looking forward to some of our very limited release stuff, that even some like Brewers Reserve stuff we've had sitting around in the cellars. Pretty sure I've got a bourbon barrel stout that nobody's really ever seen before.
All right, there you go.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
should be good.
All right. And Stone Arch, what do you guys got for us?
We'll be bringing some of our staples in, like the Scottish Ale and the vanilla stout that you see everywhere. The thing that I'm most excited about, though, is the Imperial Honey Pilsner, aged in Chardonnay barrels. That's my favorite one. We'll have a little bit of that with us.
Excellent.
A Merlot barrel aged Grand Cru. It's our anniversary week this week. So.
And you guys like to do a lot of that. I see you do quite a bit of using actually wine barrels to do the aging,
Yep.
right? I mean, that's
yeah,
something.
I've got a Merlot barrel aged Grand Cru that we'll probably be bringing down as well. Then a rum barrel Imperial Red Ale. We call it Hog Stomper.
What do you guys like about using the wine barrels to age stuff that maybe opposed to some other types of barrels?
It was mostly done by my predecessor, so I haven't really gotten into it too much.
Okay.
But I really like the dry, woody, oaky flavors that come out in lighter beers.
So it's like beer and wine
Saisons.
can get along. You don't have to decide, right?
Yeah,
There you go.
Saisons, Asian wine barrels are one of my favorite things.
Yeah. Well, I could see. Yeah, I could see what that would be really good. Yeah. I think we've hit it, but
almost
anything
covered
else?
it.
All right.
Actually, the bourbon barrel aged mead and the heather blossom we've covered, and then the hot cider. But we haven't covered the East Kent Golding hop cider.
Okay.
Or the apple pie spiced cider.
Apple pie.
So, yeah, it essentially winds up being very similar to an apple pie, only in liquid form.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
It works out really well, but it's in a pin, and when you're doing it in a pin,
so
it's a little tricky. We'll find out how it winds up tasting. Now the East Kent Golding hop cider, that's a first for me. We'll find out how those hops actually work in a cider, and I'm expecting them to work really well, actually.
All right.
Nice. A little bit of earthy, lemony, floral. You're not going to get any of that piney or citrusy character from a lot of the typical American hops. It's more floral oriented, earthy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Is this your first time dry hopping a cider?
No.
No. Just East Kent.
Grab the
Yes,
microphone.
I have done. The question was asked about first time hopping a cider, dry hopping. I've actually done Styrian Goldings, which were grown in Wisconsin, which I find really funny because Styrian Goldings are actually Fuggles, which why would it's actually Fuggles grown in Wisconsin, but they were Wisconsin grown Styrian Goldings hops, and it worked out fabulously. And I did the same spice cider, same way I'm doing it now, different yeast because the temperature that was in the middle of summer. And I had a totally different environment in which I was cask conditioning them. I'm at about 60 degrees, maybe 55 degrees in the environment right now. So I'm fermenting with a yeast that really likes 51 degree temperatures. So we'll find out. Hopefully it doesn't throw too much sulfur.
All right, there you go. Master class. Here we go. We could teach it. I mean, this is like, yeah, we started. Holy smokes! All right, that's it. Any questions from the audience before we are? Oh, we do have one question here. So the question is.
So my question is just roughly, what's your annual barrel capacity, just from a size standpoint?
He wants to know barrel capacities for. Boy, we got a bit of a range. I'm guessing now.
I can sum this up pretty quick for my end. Since I'm in Nano Brewery, I got a 3.5 barrel maximum capacity. So you're talking about, if I really busted my ass, probably 30. And I don't feel like busting that much ass.
All right, anybody? Let's do
my
this.
tax bills are pretty
look
low.
At the range.
You know?
Anybody? Okay. So is anybody under 30 barrels a year? Let's go this way. Anybody under 30 in a year?
That's the smallest.
All right. Who's probably doing the more? I'm guessing maybe Fox River or you guys. One of these you guys, right? How many of you guys doing in?
Well, we've got the 2 breweries.
So
as a singular brewery, and I think they got it. You got us beat
3,000 barrels.
3,000 barrels a year. Okay. So we're looking at a range of 30 to 3,000 and everywhere in between.
I think at Bare Bones, our biggest issue is we have the capacity to push a shit ton of. This is Facebook. We didn't bring our
This
is
bleeper,
Facebook
guys.
Live only right now, right? Facebook Live only right now. I'm sorry. You got to know, you got 9 brewers up here.
And they're drinking beer, so
we're
I
drinking
the fact
beers.
that that's.
I could have said worse words. I did not. Anyways, but no, we could push out a lot more beer if we. Our biggest hindrance here is keg capacity and cooperage and distributors taking it and. But this place is set up to push out like a couple thousand, I think. Like, you know, if we get the cooperage available and the people taking it, yeah.
I think we could push just about 700 with our setup. We've been brewing since mid-October. We've brewed about 100 barrels. A lot of that was beers we know that are gonna be able to last for about 5-6 months. So, you know, keeping those cold, sort of just stocking up on beer so we know that we don't have to keep brewing those over and over again. But yeah, about 700, I think, is if we were running full capacity, it's where we'd be at.
All right. Oh, go ahead. Yep.
So yeah, this I just ran the numbers for 2017.
All right, there you go.
We had a goal of really meeting our capacity this year, which I projected to be 3,000, and we came up like 37 barrels short of that.
Okay.
So
Just
we did a
about.
pretty darn good job.
Came close. All right.
Not really sure what our capacity is, but our goal for 2018 is about 800 barrels.
About 800. All right, Dave.
We're at about 500 right now.
500. Okay. You guys at Appleton Beer Factory? Were you guys at about?
We're at about 1,300.
1,300.
Goal for next year will be close to 2,000.
Okay. All right. And we got another question from online.
Does anyone make beer out of Fugle or Nugget hops? Sorry if I butchered that.
Fuggles. Sure, all of us. Yeah.
All right. So the question is, do you make beer out of Fuggles or nougat hop? Nugget. All right. Nugget. All right. There. Well, Dan. All right. So we've now instigated a civil war among the brewers.
Tastes like a licking a lawnmower bag, in my opinion.
Fuggles taste like you're eating a bag of grass.
Yeah, so like the lawnmower bag. So, no, not on no Fuggles. Yes, on Nugget.
I think there's a reason that they modified Fuggles to become Nuggets. But, yeah, I bet a lot of us use Nugget hops, and some of us Fuggles too, hopefully not for flavoring. But anyways, yeah, Nugget hops are a great bittering hop, and I know in a lot of dark beers we use those.
So for people who maybe don't understand, can you explain the difference? Just briefly, what's the difference, or what's the difference there? What's going on for the folks that maybe don't know the difference between the two? What they're asking?
Nuggets are pretty high alpha, and I've used them for mainly just bittering at the beginning of the boil. There are a couple breweries I've worked at in the past where we've used Fuggles later in the brew for flavor, And I've just, without telling them, swapped them out for nuggets. And they're like, wow, this brown ale is better than it's ever been. What did you do? Funny. I swapped the Fuggles and put the nuggets there. But yeah, I don't know. It's.
I don't use Fuggle at all, but it's one of those British hops, or English hops that you.
It's noble.
It's not so noble in my book, but I'll swap out Bravo probably for that.
If Fuggles are grown in
There you go.
Styria, they're called Styrian Goldings, and those are absolutely phenomenal hops for, let's say, a Belgian style ale.
Remember what I said about Shane knowing a lot?
Yeah. It's not a lot. It's everything.
I won't go that far.
That's okay, man.
Fuggles are grown in the Northwest, which is our Yakima Valley. That's where most of the hops are grown in the United States nowadays. Wisconsin's actually coming back. Historically, it was one of the largest. Well, it was the largest hop producer.
Yep.
Back before Prohibition. During Prohibition, it fell flat on its face, obviously. Anyways, Fuggles in Wisconsin actually grew pretty nice and were nice, tasty hop.
I can't believe we're beating Fuggle to death.
Of the Yakima Valley Fuggles, though. So, yeah, it is what it is, right?
And hops pick up characteristics from the region the way that grapes would from where they're grown.
Very
too,
much,
right?
very much so. The soil, the environment, the humidity, the sunlight,
all that plays into that.
Microflora.
And I think that's a good point. We're pretty fortunate, I think, here in the Midwest. There's a lot of great hops being produced at a lot cheaper than the Yakima Valley. So I think we're fortunate for that.
I concur.
All right. Any other questions? Are we okay? Well, I want to thank all you guys so much for coming out here tonight and kind of giving us a preview of what's coming on. Again, you can still get tickets this Saturday. And if you don't want to be cold the whole time, you can get the VIP, so you can actually be in here for a little bit of it too. So thanks again.
We'll be serving shot skis in the VIP lounge.
Shot skis.
There are.
All right. All right.
Not
All right.
many. Yeah.
Thank you and good night.
Thanks.